So could you give me the rights again, please? Thank you. Do you see my screen? What do you see?
Yeah, it's visible.
Is it the Spark Air open?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, so I want this session to be interactive uh, because this is the final session for us. And there's not many things that I can teach you unless you don't have doubts here, because the concept is pretty simple. It's still like entire community. I've seen like a lot of people, they are like afraid of render. Oh, this is render passes. No, we don't want anything to do with render passes. Can we not use them? Can we do some things without the render passes? And then, so I don't know why is that fear in the community. It's probably because it was launched late and then there was not proper direction in the start. But later on, there was like a lot of tutorials on this, and then there was like a lot of people talking about underpasses. But still, that fear remained in the community. And then I don't know why is that. Probably when you see this working, you'll know that there's nothing to be afraid of with the underpasses. So first of all, understand this. What I was mentioning about sender and receiver. So there's like these patches sender. Okay, so the same data types, all we have to a value, like whatever data types I have here, I can assign those data types here also. So if I rename is like a duration, let's say my duration of a game, and if I set it to like 5 seconds, and then what I can do is that I can like probably comment around and then have all such variables right here, like duration and maybe one more like sender, which is like a speed of if I'm making a game, like what speed I'm working at, speed, what else? Maybe some color value that I want to be constant about, like this is what I'm going to use again and again. So like, let's say this color that I'm going to use probably. Okay. So what is this? Why am I using these is that because I can anytime create a receiver for these guys and use it anywhere in the project. So even if I'm far away from these guys, I don't have to like draw lines, like from if I have like 5 duration here. So I would have to draw a line to pass it, right? But this sender and receiver is kind of filling up that gap for me. So I created a sender here, I created a receiver, and I can always change which is my receiver, right? So I have 3 receivers right now. So you can locate the sender. Okay, this was the sender. And then like when it becomes a like very big project, I can't really take up the input here and I'll give output here because it is very hard to like traverse through it. So it's a good practice to start using senders and receiver, and we will be using today then. So the way you can like kind of incorporate these things into your project and beautify your project so that it's easier to look, even if you look at like after a few months, and then you always understand like what's going on. All right, and also it's a good practice to comment around like what is going on here in this block and what is going here in this block, so you can like comment around these guys. Okay. All right, so understand this render passes. Okay, what is rendering? What do you understand by rendering? Anybody have any idea what is rendering? Like we talk about rendering a lot of times. If you edit a movie, it is rendering. And there are like many places you may have heard of. Where else have you heard of rendering?
Gathering all the editing things, like हमने कहीं पे वॉल्यूम ज्यादा किया, कहीं पे कम किया एडिटिंग में,
Yeah,
और
that's
कहीं पे सैचुरेशन बढ़ाया फोटोशॉप एआई में, कुछ भी
That is
किया,
all.
इसको एक फाइल बनाना.
Okay, so that is editing and then applying those changes to something and then taking that output outside is like
Yeah.
rendering. And I think I have Sambhav is a 3D expert here. I think he can light us upon, like, he may have better ideas on rendering. He may be using. Sambhav, you still in the call?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Sambhav, do you know about rendering?
Yes, sir. I know, but I when we create some animation video using Blender or Unity, then then we add certain keyframes to where we want to show and which position we want to show our camera or our armature to be on the video. Then we list out all the keyframes in our animation pen, and then we start the rendering that renders uh, in a particular engine or a particular manners. And I guess I am not able to explain it correctly, but
You're correct. You've explained it pretty well. Thank you, Sambhav. So basically, so whatever Divya told and Sambhav told, both are correct in terms of rendering is something is that is it's an output. Okay, it's an output of the changes that you've made to your video, to your image, or like anything, right? To your audio as well, like, you know. So it's a rendering. It's you're giving it an output which can be visible on a TV or on a screen, on a mobile screen. So you kind of render it accordingly. Now, good thing about Instagram filters or augmented reality these days is that we can render live. You know, like one of the things that we see at an Instagram camera right now is that we open our phones and then we start recording, and it is being edited at the moment. Like if I change the color of the trees and then if I record this, it is a different color. I don't have to post process it. So my post processing has come onto like live rendering. So this is like whatever changes are being applied on the image, on the video, is being live rendered on the screen. So this process is live rendering. Okay. Now, this is a device, and this device has everything in the scene. It has the camera, then the focal distance, and the lights, and then whatever we put inside the focal distance. This device has a default pipeline. So if you click on it, this will give you a basic structure of how your things are assigned right now. So it says that at the moment, whatever comes in the device as an object. So whatever we add in our scene, like plane or rectangle, they are objects. And then we assign them some things. They hold some data, either an image or an animation sequence or color values. So this device is holding everything, whatever comes under this entire panel, okay? Which we are passing to a scene render pass, which is rendering our objects to our device, okay? So this is what the function of this guy, okay? And the camera texture is our background, okay? So I have camera here, and this camera's just camera texture is my background. So I have nothing else, no colors, no values. So my background is my camera texture, and above that, everything that device has are rendered, okay? Since I don't have anything here, so that's why I'm seeing my camera. That's why I'm seeing my camera texture. Is that understood?
Yes.
I'm going to ask a lot of questions, so because it's important for me to that you understand it. So if you have any questions until now, let me know. Crystal clear?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now let's.
Can you repeat once again?
Sure.
Please repeat one.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so understand this. I take whatever objects in my device. So I took all of the objects, okay? It's because I'm using this device. Let's add a plane in my, okay? And let's give this a material, and this material is this guy. Okay. Now I was using this entire thing as an object. What if I just drag this guy plane out? Now you see that this plane has an object property. This device has some more properties. Only this device has multiple properties. Whatever objects you add, they will have only single property here. So the plane, if I pass the plane object, okay, and if I don't pass my background, I am only seeing this, the plane, all right, nothing else. My background is my default color, okay. So what is happening here? Try to understand what is happening here, okay. I'm trying to, I think I'm visible there, okay. So whatever object that I pass to my render machine, my engine, and then my device, it is taking that, putting it on a background of black color, and then showing to my device. Is that happening here? That's what happening here? This plane is projected on this guy, this which has a background of black color, because there's no background passed to it. And over the black color, there's this plane overlaid, and which is going to go to our device. Is that clear? Now, if I use, okay, now good, Srishti. If I use my background here, this will be there, right? Again, what if I want to have custom background? I don't want to see my camera texture. Okay, I want to have this guy rectangle, which is like a full screen rectangle, and you see this. Notice this. Okay, we have this rectangle into the scene right now, right? We can still see in the viewport, but we can't see in the device because there is no property here which is passing it to our engine. Our engine is just taking the plane. It is not taking anything else. It is not taking this canvas, just taking this plane. So it doesn't matter. Like whatever you add here, if you don't pass it to the main device using the engine, then it's not going to be there, right? So to be able to get it, to be able to, if I take this guy and do this, then I won't be able to see this plane, right? Because I am single-handedly passing things to the scene object and then rendering them onto the device. Okay, so now try to understand the usage of this guy. Usage first. You can access elements individually. Do we have a text? Yeah. We can access elements individually. Okay. All right. What is next? You can layer them now, because what if I have something, this is my background here, camera texture, and if I have this canvas as a background, and then so I can kind of have things in a layer form, and I don't have to worry about the layering here. Okay, so we're going to talk about these two things first, or maybe layering later. Layering would be come at the last. First, talk about the elements, accessing elements individually. Okay. All right. This is good. This is good, and it's invisible at the moment. Okay, I can use many render passes, as many you want. I want to talk about the attributes of this guy. So the size of is that you're using 1:1. You can kind of do it for like 0.5 and 0.5 as well. If I do it 0.1 and 0.1, this is going to decrease the quality of this guy. Okay. If you notice, this is the kind of a, the entire thing is pixelated. You see that? Do you see the difference? And if I make it 1 and I make it 1, this is going to be like better. So this is like a kind of a rendering quality to optimize your effects. Sometimes you have like larger effects, so you want to like maybe 0.5 is also good. It's like there's not much difference in the quality. But if you just have like few render passes and then your effect is not so much calculation expensive, then you can just use 1 and 1. No problems in that. Sizing is mostly you're gonna use with a screen only, but I think there are some experiments that I might have to do with before I can tell you about these things. Usually we keep it on by default on screen. We can kind of play with the channel modes. Usually we also keep them by default RGBA. We use all the channels and then we can manipulate them later after getting the output. So usually we don't worry about these here unless you just want to play with some particular colors. These are again data types mostly used when you're using shaders. So basically you just have to import this by default and not worry about these features. We can kind of think about the default color. Sometimes we want to see through a background, then we just put it on transparent. Just we put its opacity to 0. Else, so like whatever, so we don't worry about the color. But in this case, there's no need for that. Okay. Let's do something fun with this. Okay. Going to delete these again, bring out the device, give its object here. You see now, since I included the entire device, the device has my canvas, device is my plane, which is invisible. But the layering is important here. So if I put it here, I can see both of them. All right. But I'm going to delete them for now. Okay. Interesting thing about render passes is that, yeah, we can kind of access their elements individually. After accessing the elements, we could do a lot of operations with them. Okay. So this was scene render pass. There was something called shader render pass as well. So shader render pass is kind of gives you the, it converts the rendered target into a texture. So if I use if I use this camera texture and then like, let's say if I have a different color, if I do some manipulations now, like if I remove this, and if I have a value, which is a color, and if I pass this guy to directly to this, it's okay. Okay. Maybe we would have to, okay, camera texture and then the personal segmentation. And if I take this segmentation and multiply these guys to alpha of this, and then pass it to the background, this is going to give me an error. Although I'm just passing a texture, right? Or the background is supposed to be a texture, but it doesn't take that directly. So we would have to go through the shader render pass and then put it here. Now it will accept it. So what I did was basically I took out the camera texture, multiplied it with the personal segmentation's alpha. Person segmentation is my person segmentation, which is segmented out from the scene. And so basically this camera texture is only shown where my alpha is my body. So that is why the only thing which is visible in the scene is like me. All right. Is there any doubt until here before we go any further?
No, sir.
Okay. Remove these guys for now, just for representation, just for explaining the shader and the pass. Okay. Now, the very, very famous patch of Spark AR is called delay frame, which is essentially nothing but kind of as Sambhav mentioned, like we add frames and then those frames are rendered. So that's how it happens. Like, like frame by frame, everything is rendering right now. So on this screen, whatever camera is seeing is being rendered live. So what if I put a little bit of delay to this? I may be in slow motion. I maybe see myself like coming to here, like a hazily coming here. Like you can imagine, right? If I right now, if I'm looking at a frame which is previous frame, like 2 frames earlier than this, then I'm probably looking at something which is not exactly like this. Something which is like if I move, so at the moment I'll be looking at t-2 or like frame -2. So let's see that in action. I would have to use a shader underpass here. I'm at the moment I'm applying everything to the like entire scene, like because the entire scene is being rendered, and I took that out, created that as a texture, and the texture goes to my render pass. And my first okay, and I can do this to both of my first frame. And this is, if you see the delay frame, this delay frame is a sender. Okay, you see that this is the sender sign that we just talked about. So if I make a receiver of this guy, then it will give me a receiver. So what I want to do is that to this shader pipeline, to this render pipeline, I want to say that render a frame, go back to it, render a frame, go back to it, and keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. So that I have more control over things like what's happening, so that I can kind of take this frame out, apply something, go back, apply something, go back, apply something, and keep doing it, keep doing it. So for that, I would have to mix it with my original texture. My original texture is this guy, and then my delay frame is this guy. And if now this output goes to this guy, so let me explain you what's happening here. What's happening is that I am taking my scene render pass. My entire device is being passed, rendered onto this render pass, which is then passed to this mix patch, which is also mixed with the render delayed frame, which is nothing but the delayed frame of this guy. Like, so whatever is coming here is being delayed and passed back to it again. Okay. So this mixture is a mixture of original frame and a delayed frame, right? Is that clear until here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So if I increase this now, so my output is still connected to this. Okay. So my output should be connected to this now, because what is the final pipeline now? This is the final pipeline, right? This is being processed. This is being mixed with itself, right? This is being mixed with delayed itself. And then the output is going to this guy. So if I use this also, that should be an output. If I use this also, that should be my output. We usually use this as an output. Can anyone tell me why is this black right now? Who can tell me? Anybody? Why am I seeing a black screen at the moment? You just have to go through all the concepts, and there is a big hint right in front of you. Who is going to answer? Take your time.
Color.
Yeah, go ahead, Srishti.
Background color.
Background color, which one? This one or
Delay
this
frame
one?
and
Device is
yes, sir.
device is not.
Sorry?
Device is not connected.
Device is what?
Is not connected.
No, device is connected, right? Device is connected here. The screen output is connected.
Okay, yeah.
That is correct. Srishti, you were almost right. Could you explain your answer? Which frame are you talking about?
Alpha is 0.
Alpha is 0, which means I'm taking the entire delay frame.
Yeah.
That is okay, but that doesn't answer the question, why is it black? Srishti, you were almost right. Do you want to go ahead and answer better? Try again. Okay, so my first frame of this delay frame is also coming through here. So if I see information, how the information is being flowed, is that some texture came in, which was nothing. This is the camera texture, okay? The camera texture was coming in, and this was coming in here, and then which is like, so always remember this, that whenever you see alpha as 0, which means 100% of the above value, when it is 1, that means it is 100% of the second value. All right, that I hope you know already. If I put 0.5, that means there's 50% of that and 50% of this. Okay, at the moment it is 0, which means it is taking 100% of the delay frame. It is not even taking this guy. What is my delay frame at the moment? At the start, my delay frame is just black. There's nothing to pass to it, right? There's only still texture is black. And since I'm taking 100% of that, and no, I'm not changing it, right? Because I'm not even caring about whatever person is coming through here. So that is why it is coming out to be black. If I change this color to anything else, this should be also changed if I refresh it. Okay. Yeah. So this should also be changed if I refresh it. Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's put it to black again. And okay. What I should ideally do is that if I increase this to like 10%, which means 90% of delay frame, and if I mix 10% of my original video feed, if I put 10% of my original video feed to 90% of my delayed feed, what would happen? Let's do it. So I'll 0.1. So if you see that there's like this haziness, like it's following. Do you see that? How simple is that? And conceptually, how simple is that? Conceptually is that you kind of.
Sorry. Yeah. Can you?
Yeah. Go ahead, Divya.
Can you explain again?
Yeah. Sure. What happened was initially it was a 0, which is just the black screen. Yeah. Let's change this also. Like if I give my first frame to my camera screen, that would only confuse you. Okay. So at the moment, there's nothing on the screen because it is black. 100% of the delay frame is initially nothing, my first frame is nothing, right? So unless I don't accept this, unless I don't accept any output from this, I wouldn't be able to change my black color, right? Because I'm taking 100% of the black color and delaying it and then taking it back and delaying it. So what I did that, I chose that, okay, I'm not taking 100% of my delay frame. Now I'm taking 90% of my delay frame. Okay. And the 10% I'm taking from my texture, original texture. Is that understood?
Yeah.
If I put it on 0.1, okay, if I put it on 0.1, then that is why there's this haziness, because I'm taking 90% of delay frame and only 10% of the original frame. If I put like a very minute value, like 0.01, which is 99% of delay frame. So you see that it's going to be like super slow, because delay frame is that it is kind of still, that frame is still because it's not changing much. Which is the next thing I wanted to show you guys. If you see, like if I'm changing just a little bit, it is very slow. All right. If I take the camera texture to my first frame, okay? Then notice this, okay? And put it to 0, all right? Then I'm going to put it to 1 for now. And if I take 100% of this guy, then there's no delay for him, right? Is that understood? Because I've chosen 1 here. So that means 100% of this guy, no delay frame. If I keep decreasing it, now notice that my first frame is my camera textures frame. So if I put it to 0, what would happen now? Who can tell me? The only thing that I changed now is that my background color is not black. My background is my camera texture. But if I put to 0, what would happen?
Same as camera.
Same as camera, but would it be moving? Would it be like moving? Or was it like a still image?
Still image.
Still image, but after some time it's
No, it's just going to be still image. If I put to completely 0, because there would be nothing else coming from this guy, then it is going to be delayed image forever.
Yeah.
That is how every photo booth filter on Instagram work on this simple concept. So if I put it to 1, then it's fine. And if I add a switch here, and this switch is like on a screen tab. So if I use the switch guy and use a screen tab here, and on my screen tab, this should flip. So initially this is at, let's say 0. So let's say initially it is on 1 because I put a not. So initially if it is on 1, if I screen tap now, so whenever I screen tap, this is going to give me a picture. And if I screen tap again, it's normal. You see that? Just notice this value here, 0 and 1, okay? When it is 1, it is entirely my camera texture. When it is 1, 0, it is entirely my delayed frame. Is that understood?
Yeah.
Okay. Now try to play with values like 0.1, you'll have some haziness. So we use these guys a lot to create such post-processing effects, which are live rendered. So you just created a photo booth filter. It's nothing but just this. This is your photo booth filter. You know, and you can have some interaction like when you blink your eyes, this should trigger. Like right now, it is triggered on the screen tap. Sorry, but you can do this like when you blink your eyes, you could do that. I hope it's clear, right? I hope it's just like everything I've explained in detail, and then any slightest of the doubt, ask me. You know, it doesn't matter if it's a silly doubt, doesn't matter. We're just learning here. Whatever comes to your mind, whatever about Underpass is something which is not clear, throw it out. Okay, cool. Also, you can always see like what are you rendering particularly is when you expand this down, you can like kind of see what is that you kind of passing ahead. Okay, so if I know that my alpha is 0.1, then I know that from here I'm passing my good value, but from here I'm passing my hasty, like a little you know, shaken value, my blurry image. So, and that's my output. This delayed frame comes here and then creates the output. If I give my output right here, then it's going to be normal. But since it is after this is being added, and this is going to give you the same thing again. Okay, interesting. That is covered. How do I, like right now, I know that it's being delayed and everything, but you can also make it a little more interesting, which is that this is my entire camera texture, and this is my like delayed camera texture. So if I blend these guys, okay, blend is like kind of making a mix, okay, and if I blend these guys, should be destination. There are a lot of options when you blend. You can add, you can subtract. So there like so like a different lot of different effects that you can make here. Um, yeah. Just like just keep this like just a type of uh, what kind of uh, what kind of blend are you making? Are you just add it generally, multiplying is generally overlaying them on the top. So this is just like a, I think graphic blending, you know, and just graphical concepts. So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how to use that as a delay. All right. This was pretty much it about the delay frame and the render passes. The next thing that we want to do is kind of understand the layering, and if you bring that into practice, if you bring that the layering in practice, then I'm sure that you'll be creating advanced filters from the start. So I'm not sure, like not everybody follows this, but all the good creators, they follow this method, and it's a very efficient method to not care about layering, to not care about a lot of other things. So I'm going to delete everything and create some shapes like plane, another plane. So I have 4 planes here, and I just want to increase their sizes to a little bit. So it's 1. So I'm going to go with 0.5. 5. This is 1. This is should be 1.5 and 1.5. This should be 2 and 2. All right. So if you notice, I just had created 4 different planes, and I'm going to just give them material. All has different materials, different colors as well. And this is to kind of make you understand the concept of layering, and we're just about to go there. All right, so if I disable this guy, this is another on here. If I disable this guy, this is, so basically this is at the top, and there's this another guy, and there's this, if I disable this, there's another plane, and if I disable this, there's another plane. All right, but at the moment, right now they're kind of above each other, so we can't really see them. So is because this renders from top to bottom. So plane 3 is rendered first, then plane 2, and because of its size, is kind of covering the entire area. Now we just learned about render passes and then layering. So let's see if we can kind of, you know, incorporate some tricks here. What is it that you want to render first? I want to render the plain thing because it is the largest. So I want to see this as the background. Okay. So if I use it here, this is my scene object. And if I see that this is the only green thing here in this plane 3, okay, I'm not passing any background, but this is my scene render pass for this green thing. And then I want to take the plane number 2, and then again I want to use a scene render pass and give it as an object. Now if you see, this is my another plane, this is my another plane. Okay. Now if you see that if I want this orange thing on the top of this guy, of the green guy, then the green thing should be my background. So if I put this guy into my background, would I get this? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But if you notice, this thing is not there on the screen yet because I have not passed this to my device yet. The only way to pass the output of scene render pass is to pass to the device screen output. But I'm still preparing, so I pass it at the end. Okay. So don't get confused. My original output that I want is here. Okay. Then we have, let's take it on the top so that it doesn't interfere. All right. Then we have plane number 1. And if I use the scene render pass and to give the scene object, and so if you see, this is the red thing, and this is, if I give this the background, this is going to be, so basically the entire thing is my background and the red is top off on that. And if I do that to this plane again, and if I use this as a scene render pass, scene object, and then I can kind of use the blue and then use this as a background. So like this. If I want to kind of get this into perspective and into my device, I just look at the scene first, what's happening here. We took individually, we accessed all the plane individually. So first thing that we did and learned about this. And after that, we kind of put them on top of each other. We had the entire control on what we want to put first and what we want to put next. All right. And then I just want to have this scene renders pass output and then give this output to this guy. So I have all of these things in perspective here. Is that clear? Are there any doubts in this? Divya, is that understood?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Srishti, is this understood?
Yes, sir.
How about Sambhav?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. I can't really see who else is in the call. Is that understood to everybody else? All right, I think. Okay, this is good. This is good. What's next we could do with this, guys? I mean, yeah, if you have any questions that in your mind around render passes, you can let me know right now. And else we could go to the ask me anything that I promised, that you can ask me anything, any filter that you have in mind, any functionality that you want to know about. And also there's this hand tracking and body tracking as well. So we can learn about them as well. I think the body tracking is through a template. So maybe I'll keep a special session on that, because body tracking is nothing but just have to use a template. I'm not sure if they're providing it here. They're not providing it here. I think it's the latest version. So maybe we'll keep a special session on body tracking, hand tracking. It was not earlier part of the curriculum. It was just launched last week. So we'll make sure that we kind of arrange a session for that. Okay. Any questions that you have in mind about any filter or anything else? I'm going to stop my screen for now.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
I want to learn that you make a
Sorry?
cyberpunk, cyberpunk filter that you made.
Cyberpunk. Which one? Which one? There's like.
That violet lines are coming from the eyes, and
Is that my filter?
yeah, you shared on the Facebook.
Oh, the lines from the eyes are coming.
Yeah.
Okay, 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 okay.
And also that music player one, like that which shared on the Instagram. Like when music plays, that waves are coming from the like rings and all.
Okay, okay. So let's talk about the later one first, the lines one. So it's good that you asked. Maybe I can show you some things around it. All right, we understood this. I'm going to delete these guys. And I'm going to delete these as well. Okay. I'm going to tell you the concepts. I'm not going to tell you the exactly working, because the only thing I don't like is spoon feeding. I like to guide people, guide all the concepts about, and then, try them out so that you can learn about it. Because on the way, when you try it yourself, you learn 2 or 3 new things. And that is exactly how I learned myself. So I'm going to guide you the concepts, and then you'll get there. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So I'm going to just import a quickly default pipeline for an Underpass. And when I have this Underpass here, that I see that my camera texture is coming and my entire device is just being fed to this Underpass, which is being projected at my device screen. What I want to do is that I want to use a delay frame. Before that, I have to use a shader Underpass so that I can give this to my delay frame. And when I give it to my delay frame, this delay frame gives me a receiver, and then that I can again attach it to the start of my pipeline, which is being mixed with my original texture and also with the delay frame now. If you notice that whatever I'm passing to this guy is coming here, and also, so this is the exactly something that we created earlier. And since we're talking about the camera texture, so which is why, since it is at 0 right now, so it is going to be a still texture, but if I put it to 0.1, this is going to be a little hazy image. Okay, now understand this, that whatever lines were coming in that filter, right? So those lines they were moving away. They were like expanding from this original state. So what could have been done is that, and it was happening again and again and again and again. So there was like, if I use a rectangle, I would have to use like many rectangles and then keep them looping in. So I did not do that. So how did I do it? I used probably like a 2D texture transform pack. I think we talked about this to kind of adjust the device resolution, to scale things, like whenever a texture is like stretching, we could kind of put it into a better shape, right? And also this transform pack is always being used with texture transform. All right, and this texture transform is this is the transformation, and this is the texture which is being transformed, and this is my texture which is being transformed. Okay. If I give it here, so basically what am I doing here is that I'm just extending my pipeline. I'm extending my pipeline of manipulating this after delaying the frame. So basically earlier my delayed frame was going back to delay frame, and the scope keep going. But now I'm adding a little bit of extra processing before it reaches to my delay frame and comes back. And that is, pay attention here. If I increase the size a little bit, if I just increase the size of the texture that was coming to me, now it will continuously be feeding to my delay frame and then coming back and then feeding it and coming back. So this will be like an endless loop. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Is this understood? All right.
Yeah.
So next thing we can do is also you can do this to in this. So this we expanded in X direction. If also do in Y direction, this will kind of come out as a circle. Like, and then since this is also like pivoting at the 0.5, 0.5, which is like the center. Yeah. So it's like an interesting concept, like interesting, like things are coming out in a very, very funny way. What we can do is again, you could rotate it maybe by some point and, like gives you a rotation effect as well. Like, so whatever texture is being gone, it's being rotated as well. And then going like this, and you can put it like 45 degree, and then there would be like, oh my God, there's like so many things at different angles. There's so many of me. If you see that there's so many of me at some angle, and they're all at one center, they're all centering at 0.5, 0.5. So like you could do many things with this, like just a slight change here, and the delay frame does amazing things. And that is why it is pretty much my favorite patch in this entire tool, is because you can, the limitless, like the possibilities are limitless. You could do so many things there. So if you see now, what I've done is that I've kind of used a 180-degree rotation. So my face is like this, but my face is also like this. So my eyes are also here. My eyes are also here. Like, again, this is 0.01. If you do that, it's going to be crazy. 0.5 is kind of, you can see like both of the things. All right. So like now I have like two of me. If I put it to 0, it'll be like, now notice these lines. Okay. You see these lines?
Yeah.
So this is kind of me on different layers. Now in that filter, these lines were my body segmentations outline. Okay. So this was not entirely me. So probably if you don't change anything here, if you change some things here before passing it, if I just pass this, the outlines, not the entire face, you will get there. You will get the exact filter right there. So, yeah, I mean, I can give you one more hint, which is, I think, can be useful to you. So this is okay. And now try to understand this. Okay. This is scene underpass, and this is to, to shader underpass, I guess. No. So if we use this shader underpass here, yeah. So if you use the shader underpass, this is kind of like, this is the segmentation texture. Okay. How we get the segmentation texture is from the segmentation. We've already discussed about this in the first lecture. The segmentation, if I give the alpha, this is going to be white. Okay. And I want white outlines, and then I can color them later. So what essentially I could do to get the lines is that maybe if I use this white line and if I delay it a bit and if I subtract it, would I get the outline? Are you getting my point? If I have something like this,
yeah,
and if I delay it a bit, like let's say at this position, if I have this guy, and if I subtract it, so I'll have this difference, right? And if entire thing is, yeah, so I'll have the outline, right? So
yeah.
So that's the entire concept on getting the outline, and maybe I can guide you on that as well. Just like, let me clear this. Yeah. Okay. Okay. maybe we might have to use some objects here for that. Like, so until now we don't have an object. If you see that we don't have any object here, and we already have a like ready-made filter that we can upload on Instagram already. So these are render passes for you. All right, so let's have a canvas, and this canvas should have rectangle. This rectangle should be material, which is white, and then I'm kind of going to disable this for now. Okay, and if I have, all right, so I'm going to remove this as well. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring out this rectangle, right? No, yeah, this rectangle should be 100%, 100%. And this should be my personal segmentation texture, which I don't want. We just want to give it the alpha. Right. So I just gave it the alpha, and what I want to do now, I want to use a scene render pass, and just the rectangle. I just want to pass this rectangle to this so that I have just the white thing here. And if I have this white thing already, I don't want to use this black color, so I want to make it transparent. I don't want to care like what is there in the background, so I made it transparent. And then I want to take this alpha. This is only alpha. This is white, and then I'm going to use a mix patch. I'm going to use shader underpass, and then I'm going to use a delay frame, and this delay frame should.
Mix is not connected.
Sorry. Yeah, I've not connected it because I want to connect this guy first, and this here, and connect this here. So now this is a little bit of delayed frame. This is my delayed output, and if I subtract this from the original one, and if I see what comes out, so shader and pass can also be used to see like what are you actually, what is this output? Okay, do you see this difference? Okay, do you see this like
yeah.
I've kind of, because what I've done is that I've subtracted the delayed frame to my original frame, and then so I have whatever is the left behind. Interesting point. If you do the opposite, you'll see these things inward, like, you know, you see the difference that was outward and this is inward.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this was the entire concept behind those lines, and then kind of, yeah. So if you see that, now you can use you can make like interesting things with this. So if I blend this guy with source, and this is my destination. Yeah. So if you see like this is just one more thing that I wanted to show, that if I move, there's some things on my back, and I can kind of give some colors to this guy. I can multiply this with some colors, and those colors could be, I don't know, maybe, so this is a ready-made effect as well for you. So you could do these things as well. So you have kind of learned 4 to 5 concepts into this filter. Basically, you can make your own outlines. You can, create your own individual assets, use their alphas, Also, forget about like, let's say this guy, we don't have the segmentation with us. We have just the camera texture. So if we have the camera texture, this guy is a camera texture, all right, then then whatever I'm having, the white outlines are not there anymore, right? So what if I want to have the alpha of this guy? So what you can do is that this is a texture output as a 4 vector output. Sorry. So you can swizzle it. Swizzle is, did we discuss about swizzle? We did. Swizzle is kind of taking things out based on particular variables you want to access. Like if it is a 4 vector thing, and then you want to access X, you want to access Y, you want to access Z, then you can just use swizzle. So for an example, let me give you an example. So if I have a value which is 2, okay, and if I do this to this, and if I say that, hey, X, 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 then I can kind of have a 3 vector now. All right. Did you understand this? Did you understand this? Because what I did was this value is assigned to my X, X, X 3 times. If I put X, X, X 0, then there will be 2, 2, 0. If I put 0, 0, X, then there will be 0, 0, 2. Is that understood? Sisti?
Can you show the swizzle one again?
Yeah, sure. So see, this is a value and this is a swizzle. So swizzle is that it can assign, it is kind of a like 1 input and 3 outputs. So it just kind of assigns those values to each of the streams, you can say. And if you have multiple streams, then you can extract only one. If you have only one, you can assign to multiple, like that. So consider this is like a pipeline, like multi in and multi out pipeline. Consider this like for an example. So if I have swizzle here, which is one more thing, like, so simpler example I can give you. The screen size, okay, it's a 2 vector thing, 750, 1334. So 2 vector, X, Y. If I swizzle this, and if I just want to have X, this is going to give me the X direction, okay? This is going to give me X value. If I swizzle Y, this is going to give me the Y value. And this has X and Y 2 values, right? So there were like 2 pipelines coming, but I applied swizzle and I just wanted X or Y. I can choose what I want. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So also, like, this is also similar to, just one more thing before we go ahead. You can unpack this guy. And when you unpack, this is a vector 2. If you unpack, this is X and this is Y. All right. This is your X and this is your Y. For this one, we kind of used unpack, but we used swizzle. Right. So this is X and this is Y. So basically these outputs, this is 750, this is 750, this is 1334, this is 1334. So this is similar. Okay. This is similar to this guy. And this is similar to this guy. Understood?
Yeah.
Okay, going back to the thing that, so suppose we didn't have the alpha, we didn't have the white values here. So how do I get the alpha? So what I can do is I can swizzle it. If I swizzle it, and I don't want to care about whatever R, G, B, I just want to care about alpha. So either I can use A, okay, and if I take this here and if I see like what did I actually take out, so you can always use a shader underpass to see what is this guy doing here. So if you see, oh, the entire thing has become white. So basically the camera texture is the entire thing, right? What is above my hair and everything. So it has converted everything into white. I was hoping I wouldn't, but if I multiply this with the alpha of this and then give this guy, then I will only have then I only have my face. I don't have my background. Do you see why that happened? We initially did also. We did this initially also. I took my camera texture, I multiplied it with my alpha of my segmentation, like my body's alpha, and then I gave it to my rectangle. That my
we do
rectangle,
that.
yeah, and my rectangle is then my scene render pass, which is that is going to give just me my face, my body. Then I took the alpha of that guy, so everything that comes here becomes white. It becomes white. Now everything is same. Now everything is same that we were having earlier. So we could pass it here, and this will give the same outputs. All right, how are we doing with this understanding? How are we? Where are we? And also we can use color cycle here as a color cycle patch that we can use and then keep changing the color. There's a color cycle patch in the library. This is the library, and that you can import always. It's free. A lot of people use it. It's like 6,500 downloads already. And then when it comes out, and then this guy can have many colors, changing colors. So it's like a ready-made filter for you guys. All right, what else? What else do you wanted to know about the eyes thing? Okay. Little bit of mathematics there, but I can guide you. I also leave this file for you guys to understand. Also would arrange it before I leave it to you guys, and so that you can kind of revise the concepts. There's this patch called SDF line into the SDF line. It's a 2D SDF line. It's by Creator. It's a good, Keitapul is a very brilliant creator. You can follow him on Instagram. Sorry?
Can you share your entire screen? We can't say this AR library now.
Oh, okay. I don't think now you can see Spark.
Yeah, Spark is already open, but AR library is not shown.
So basically, I opened this 2D line. So you just have to search 2D line. Okay. I don't know if we can change it to, yeah, you can just search for 2D line patch and you'll find it by Keitapul. Keitapul is a brilliant creator. Yeah, so we kind of started a while back, but yeah, so he's a brilliant creator. He's a lot of patches in the library, a lot of useful. I love this one a lot. And so basically what this does is that from a coordinate point, let's say 0,0 to some point, let's say 50,50, and the thickness 1, and the screen size is screen size is divided by screen scale. Screen size is always like divided by screen scale to get the actual thing. So like for iPhone 8 right now, this is 375, but originally it is taken to be as 750. So screen scale, again, we discussed this about in the first class, is that the pixel density is being controlled by screen scale. So I am going to use a sender here, which is my resolution. That's a vector 2 thing. And I'm going to go to my patch that I just imported. And I'm going to say that, hey, give me a receiver. And the receiver is my resolution. And the resolution is my screen size. And my screen scale. Okay, so we have to kind of use them separately here. That's all right. We don't have to divide it because it doesn't want us to. So this is my screen scale. If I want to use my resolution, that would be the division. And there would be a sender screen scale. And so if I have my screen scale, both are screen scale. Okay, I have to rename it, I guess. All right. So what this is gonna give me is gonna give me a 2D line, okay, for a length of 50. So basically it will start from here and will end somewhere like here, like 50-50. All right. So let's kind of give it here. This is my texture. I'm gonna this import it here. Yeah. Don't worry about this because there's a lot of render output is happening, but you can have a look here. So this is what that line is doing. That line is kind of printing it a line from the corner. What we could do is increase this width, and you have like a longer line. And then, so what I'm doing essentially in that filter is my endpoint is my eyes, and my starting point is my origin, that is 0, 0. And my endpoint is my eyes. So if I move it, this is the length is going to change. And if I move it, the length is going to always keep changing. But there's a tricky part to it. When we move our face, this is in a different coordinate system. And when these lines are is a different coordinate system. Where my face tracker is, if I put 100, this is gonna go where we can't even reach. Like 100 is too much for the face tracker Cartesian system, the coordinate system. But for the canvas system, for the 2D system, this is 100. So probably if I want to come here in the middle, this is going to be like you can see that 750 by 2 and by 2. So 750 by 4. So if I do 750 by 4, this is going to give kind of in the center. And if I do 133 by 4, this is going to also give me the center. So this is my center of the screen. So this is like, this is where possibly my eyes would be, my nose would be. But again, this, I would have to convert it using some tricks. There's a patch called, again, you can't see the screen, but it's called World to Focal. Yeah, World to Focal. Okay. So this is a patch. There's nothing very much into it, but if I make this patch here, this would have taken a lot of time, so I better imported it. So what you do is that you take a local position of the object and then kind of divide the Z with the focal distance. So focal distance is kind of responsible for your depth, for your Z direction. So we kind of nullify it because we don't use that anyway in the 2D Cartesian system. And then it is being multiplied with the X and Y. The Z thing is multiplied with X and Y, so that kind of is being projected on a 2D plane from a 3D plane. So don't go much into that detail. How do I get the focal distance? Is that I can have the ambient light, and this ambient light can give me a camera distance, because light is always situated at a fixed point, right? And if I have a camera distance object, like how far am I from the camera is going to be constant always, right? So that is why this focal distance is going to be same. The world transform position is I'm gonna have is to my nose or to my eyes. Um, so I'm going to have a face tracker, and this face tracker is going to be imported here. And I'm going to just take a by default position, any position of the face right now, and or maybe have a null object here. And this null object is my nose, because I can have a nose here, and that can be a nose tip position. So this guy can have a position of nose tip, right? Then, so basically what I did is that I had a null object. If you see in the there's a null object, and which is null object is kind of having the position of my nose and is being tracked to my nose. Okay. That's it. I think, thank you for staying for, I think we've taken for like 2 hours today. All right. And then see you on the one bonus session.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Bye, Divya. Bye, Srishti.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Please
Bye-bye.
share this file.
Yeah, sure. I will. Yeah.
Bye, sir. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.